I'm live. And I'm the mayor of the town of Stephenville.
You're live, that's good, you're live.
This is Candace Canberra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the world.
Well, I want to welcome everybody who got started, even though it was a little bit of lag for me getting started here today. But I want to welcome everybody to our July 7, 2022 public meeting of the town of Stephenville. I'd like to welcome management and staff and also our counselors at the table. Councilor Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow is out of the office this week. She may or may not be zooming in, so we'll see how that works out. And we also have Councilor Tristan Young. Maybe he's going to be a couple of minutes late, but we'll get moving. I'd also like to welcome anybody that has decided to zoom into our meeting via Facebook Live to see how we conduct our office here at the town of Stephenville. And as we roll out approval and debate, discuss on action items recommended by both our planning and traffic committee and our finance committee. On that note, I would ask a member of council to move that we accept the agenda as circulated.
I so move.
Moved by Councillor Meyer White, second by Councillor Laura Aylward. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Item number 2, approval of the minutes. Circulated from our previous meeting, which was July 16, 2022. They were circulated by our town clerk, Jennifer, to all council. I would ask somebody to move that those minutes be approved. Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, second.
I second.
Second, Councillor Tracy Boland, all in favor.
Aye.
Upon review of those minutes, are there any matters arising from those minutes? No matters arising from the minutes. We'll move on to item number 4, proclamations and delegations. We do have one that was signed. Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow signed a proclamation declaring that June 22nd to June 28th, 2022 as St. George Pride Week in the town of Stephenville. She had taken care of that at our previous meeting. I also want to say that the last 2 years we have completed Pride crosswalks in Stephenville, but unfortunately this year, because of the impact of sourcing paint from suppliers, there's been a bit of a lag with actually getting our sidewalks or line painting, crosswalks and so forth completed. But there is a very short demand on the certain reds and so forth. So this year we will not be doing the Pride crosswalks, but next year our plans are to reinstate them once again. And this is due to COVID and the ability of manufacturing to have product on hand. And that's what we've been told by suppliers and contractors. Okay, committee reports. Okay, it's easy for me right now because I get to turn it over to my chair of finance. For item 5.1, the finance committee, take it away, Councilor Meyer White.
Hi, good morning. Oh, I'm not used to saying that, but anyway, afternoon. Right. Anyway, thanks to everybody for joining us. Our 5.1 Finance Committee, item number 1 is the property tax. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee, the property tax write-off in the amount of $111,000, 182, say that again wrong, $111,182.12 be approved. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Meyer White, seconder.
I second it.
Second, Councilor Tracy Boland, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item number 2, remission of tax. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that remission of tax in the amount of $1,565.11 be approved. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Meyer White, seconder. Second, Councilor Lenny Tiller, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item number 3, expense check listing for June 2022. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the expense check listing for June 2022 totaling $563,489.64 be approved. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Laura Aylward, all in favor?
Aye. Item number 4, a request for grant to Harmon Seaside Links. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville give a grant in the amount of $20,000 to Harmon Seaside Links to construct inclusive washroom. Expense report must be submitted to the town. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder. Second, Councilor Lenny Tiller. Any question, comments on this one? Oh, all in favor?
Did we get a seconder? Did you get a seconder?
Yeah, Lenny, second.
Oh, okay.
Motion carried.
Item number 5, approval to issue RFP for a website design. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville issue a request for proposal to modernize and enhance the town's website. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Laura Aylward. I just want to say it's website design and the analytics associated with the websites, the dashboards that can be appropriately inserted by tech people. Very, very important. But as we move towards higher technology, it's a moving target. So having a modern website upgraded, what actually does benefits to all of our citizens, to our tourists, to our business, and so forth. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item number 6, municipal asset management program. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville participate in the municipal asset management program in partnership with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and Track Consulting with an estimated cost up to $12,000. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
I'll second.
Second, Councilor Tracy Bone. Just like to speak on that for a moment. The Federation of Canadian Municipalities have done a lot of work with municipalities for asset management. Understanding your asset management and the impact that it has on not just your financial statements, but your projections for deficiencies, long-term capital projects, and ensuring that you have the asset inventory and the capacity that if a company is moving in or if you're expanding your community, that this data is actually GIS'd, it's completed, and it should leave no stone unturned. So with this, Track Consultant, I believe there's quite a bit in the province and that has an expertise in that field. And, but the timing on this is very, very good because we are at the cusp of significant growth in this town based on what's happening with the airport and the green energy hub from wind technology and green hydrogen development that's being assessed now. It's not a done deal, let me clearly say that. But we're hoping that after the review from government on the environmental assessment comes through, those final approvals and the final announcement will be forthcoming. So another good step, it shows we're proactive. And on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item number 7, a request for grant for the Sweetgrass Festival. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville give a grant in the amount of $3,000 to People of the Dawn Indigenous Friendship Center for the Sweetgrass Festival. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder. Second, Councilor Lenny Tiller. Just like to speak on that again, they've done some great work. 1 year, we didn't have the Sweetgrass Festival because of COVID. But the last time we had it, it was so well organized, so well done. It brings in a lot of economy to the community. People travel here from all over Atlantic Canada to come to Stephenville. And I've been part of many of the events, and I have to commend the people of the Don and all of the Indigenous groups that partner into this, from Newfoundland Aboriginal Women's Network, Empowering Indigenous Women, Halapu First Nations, and Mio Putek, Chief Maisel Joe being the Grand Chief of the Mi'kmaq in this province. They do play a role in supporting all initiatives for work that's being done on continuing the reconciliation piece for our Indigenous groups. So Colin, we also got an email from stewardship or conservation stewardship that's doing some work with the Halapu. And I think there's going to be some additional sweetgrass that's going to be planted in select areas of Stephenville, because sweetgrass doesn't grow everywhere. It tends to be sometimes in close to brackish water, I think. But they're going to select sites. So some of those native plants that maybe were in areas that were taken out could be propagated and reinstated in our community. So could you just touch on that, Colin? That my close on what I said there?
That's close. They're looking at reestablishing Indigenous plants. So they're looking at tobacco, sweetgrass, and cedar, and sage. So they plant around. So we're just in discussions with them to be able to figure out the correct location, given where these things grow, these plants grow, as well as which would be the most appropriate locations. We have a lot of locations, just not within our walking trail ranges, but also within our public buildings as well. So we're in discussion with them.
I'm not sure if cedar's a natural tree for Newfoundland in our boreal forest. But what's interesting, if anybody's ever had a chance to walk around Shoal Point, on the word for next slide. If you walk around Shoal Point, there's big chunks of peat that gets dropped off from Shoal Point. And when I say big chunks of peat, for the size of a pickup truck.
Oh,
And in the peat, there's petrified cedar that could be 100,000 years old. So it was here one time because it was in the peat in Shoal Point, but it's petrified. I remember taking out a piece and bringing it home, and I looked at it forever. Then one day I said, well, maybe it's time to put it in the fireplace.
okay, we've got to vote on this yet.
Yeah. So anyways, a little bit of, I don't know, if a tree becomes fossilized, so you got a undergraduate degree in geology, is it actually a mineral?
Yeah, it's mineralized, yeah.
It's mineralized, right? I was pretty close. Yeah.
Okay, but
Okay.
all in favor, you got to do.
Oh, all in favor? Thank you, Councillor.
Item number 8, a request to purchase a gate for King Court, 104 to 106 Main Street. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville purchase a gate to be erected on the property located at 104 to 106 Main Street in accordance with Public Procurement Act. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
I second that.
Second, Councillor Treatsville. Just want to say that this is going to be a welcome addition to the town square. Last year, so we've seen sort of a chain link fence that was being used to mitigate. And even though it served its purpose, it wasn't aesthetically pleasing. But now we'll have a proper wrought iron, I think it's what it's going to be called. And it's going to be actually on the stage that are going to be pleated open, pleated shut for events. So it's going to really enhance the town square. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item number 9, a request for purchase fencing, Mayfield Soccer Field. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville purchase fencing for the Mayfield Soccer Field in accordance with Public Purchase Procurement Act. I so move.
Okay, moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councillor Lindy Keller. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item number 10, approval to award tender Pleasant Avenue reconstruction phase 2, number 17, GL-22-00001. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville accept the recommendation from Agatuna Drafting and Consulting Company Limited to award the tender for Pleasant Avenue reconstruction phase 2, project number 17-GL-22-00001 to Marine Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $784,639.25, HSTs included. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
I'll second.
Second by Councillor Tristan Newland. Just want to say this is part of a project that the full cost is not borne by the town of Stephenville. We only pay 20% of this.
Okay.
The provincial government and federal government pays 80%. So for the people on Pleasant Avenue, having that second phase completed with full reconstruction of water and sewer, curb and gutter, it's gonna really add to that part of the neighborhood. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item number 11 is the late item. Let it be resolved that the town of Stephenville write off business tax in the amount of $6,614.27. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
I second.
Second, Councillor Tracy Boland. Question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, that was the only late items for finance, Jennifer? Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Councillor Laura Aylward for planning and traffic.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item today on planning and traffic is Wheeler's Lounge, Knowles Pond. Request for outline planning permission to rezone parcel of land from flood zone to commercial general. It's a property known as Wheeler's Lounge located in Knowles Pond. It was a recommendation of Planning and Traffic Committee that this request for outline planning permission be approved, subject to compliance with all town regulations and approval of Service Newfoundland and Labrador. The applicant will bear all costs associated with rezoning. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Laura Aylward, seconder.
I second.
Second, Councillor Tracy Boland, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Noting, well, I haven't got a steak there in a while.
1 Green Drive, Terry Alexander requests for permission to consolidate 2 parcels of land, 1 Green Drive and 2 Simon Drive, into 1 parcel of land to be named 1 Green Drive, as per email attached. Was the recommendation of the Planning and Traffic Committee that this request for a permit be approved, subject to compliance with all town regulations. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Laura Aylward, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councillor Myra White, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
My gosh, a lot of items on planning. For a change. Street closure, Main Street. Request to have Main Street closed on Sundays from July 10th through October 2nd, 2022 to host community events. It was the recommendation of Planning and Traffic Committee that the town of Stephenville close Main Street to vehicular traffic from Bren Place to Grove Street on Sundays from July 10th to October 22nd, 2022, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. to host community events. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Laura Aylward, seconder.
I second.
Second, Councillor Tracy Boland. I'd just like to speak on that just a little bit. This was a project that, as council, we had talked about increasing, I guess, coming out of the success of when we've done a couple of Christmas adventures on Main Street, that the trend across many places in the country, if you go to pedestrian malls, they call them, where it's where you close down your Main Street, you create walking traffic, very successful in St. John's, Many places across the country do it. But for us with the town of Stephenville, what's really helped us is that Colin, as our manager, applied for a grant through the federal ACOA initiatives. And we received $80,000 to help the cost in supporting our businesses on Main Street. And this project was a stimulus project to help businesses that actually took rough economic times during COVID. As you all know, from restaurants to, now there's some businesses did really well during COVID, but for the most businesses did very poorly. So this was an initiative. We received funding. It'll cost us probably about $100,000 to roll this out over the summer. It's our first time doing it, so it's going to be a couple little, wrinkles, and we'll have to sit down and critique it as a management staff. They'll come back to council to see what worked, what didn't work, what were the pitfalls. But this is something that's the community really wants. And our King Square events have proven and shown that. Because every time we have music at King Square, a lot of people go downtown. And now we're going to be able to have Main Street with themed events. We're going to have eateries that can have tables and chairs on their sidewalks. And we're just going to create a really nice event. You can rest assured, some days it won't work because rain.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, July and August and September is pretty nice in Stephenville. So let's keep our fingers crossed for good weather. I want to thank management and staff for all the work they're going to be doing leading up to this, but they got a lot of work going to the end of the line. And also, I can't say enough about Ground Search and Rescue. They're jumping in now. Just think about it. They're going to have volunteers helping us for every Sunday. That's amazing. That's like, every Sunday. It's not just one Sunday a year or one car show a year. This is every Sunday for about 11 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a big commitment. And the other thing with that, we will be remunerating them for some of their services because they're a group just like any other group. Fundraising really took a big blow. And a lot of things that they did in the past to fundraise, they never had. So although they're helping us, we're going to help them also. But what's great is we're leveraging federal funding to do this. We're capitalizing on it. And that's good business management. So I want to applaud council, management for a job well done. On that note, I'll favor.
Aye.
Okay. 5860 Main Street, Island Girl Academy Boutique. Request to operate existing beauty services business at second location located at 5860 Main Street. Was the recommendation of the Planning and Traffic Committee that this request for a permit be approved, subject to compliance with all town regulations and approval of service Newfoundland and Labrador. I so move.
By Councilor Laurie, what seconder?
Second.
Second, Councilor Mario. I gotta say, Tracy, you're a musician, but every time I see this name, it's like I want to break up to that Elton John song. Island Girl.
Go right ahead.
Now, I'm not saying I'll do it because people might log off that's logged in.
You might get more logged in. Wait a minute, I'll call my friend out of here singing,
Okay,
All right.
all in favor?
Aye. Let me see. 141, 147 Main Street, the Hollow Noggin Vape Shop, R&R Distributors. Requests to operate a vape shop from space in the building located at 141, 147 Main Street. Is that Subway building? Okay. It was the recommendation of the Planning and Traffic Committee that this request for a permit be approved, subject to compliance with all town regulations and approval of Service Newfoundland and Labrador. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laurie Orr, seconder.
I'll second.
Second, Councilor Tristan Yulin, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
104, 110 Georgia Drive, Michael and Mary Doherty. Request for a permit to paint the exterior fourplex and complete exterior renovations as necessary on the building located at 104, 110 Georgia Drive. Is that the building that got burnt? No? No. It was the recommendation of the Planning and Traffic Committee that this request for a permit be approved, subject to compliance with all town regulations. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laura Hillard, seconder.
I'll second.
Second, Councilor Tristan Newland, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
35 O'Brien's Drive, Juanita Muse, request for a permit to operate an Airbnb from the residence located at 35 O'Brien's Drive. It was the recommendation of the Planning and Traffic Committee that this request for a permit be granted, subject to compliance with all town regulations and approval of Service Newfoundland and Labrador. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laura Hillard, seconder.
Aye.
Second, Councilor Myra White, all in favor?
Aye. I don't think there's anything late. Is there, Jennifer? Okay, thanks. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Councilor Hillard.
Welcome.
Okay, item number 6, bylaws and regulations, nothing on the docket there. Unfinished business. Anybody got anything, on any of our previous files that we're working on that you'd like to speak on? How about anything under new business?
Well, I'd like to say a big shout out to Kristen Coos, who was just of Kippens. And she was just inducted into the International Street and Ball Hockey Federation Hall of Fame.
No way.
Yeah. And also a huge congratulations, of course, to Katarina Roxon.
Yes.
Who just broke a record. Also of Kippens, who, you know, deserves a huge applause.
Wow. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, it's, you know, we've, whether it's sports or academia, we've got a lot of bright, young citizens in our town. And it's interesting when you mention Kippens, and we look at the success of Kippens as our success. Kippens looks at our success as their success. But in the early history of Stephenville, before Stephenville was called Stephenville, it was called Indian Head. And back at the pond. It was only after Stephen Gallant was born that the name Stephenville appeared in 1847. It's the first year. And actually, at one point, it was called Stephen Vale. Stephen V-A-L-E. That was the writing. But even in the early days, when the base started taking over some of the local lands of the farmers, and they started to move, and Cross Brook Kippens became, but even before Kippens was Kippens, Kippens was a part of Stephen
Yeah.
in the early years. And actually, the next community to Stephenville was the community of Romaines, which is Romaines River, which is now Port East. So, you know, the Romaine family was so signature in their early years, in their presence, that the town was named after the Romaines. So a little bit of historical information there. Any other new business?
Good information. Not really new business, I guess, but I attended the Canada Day celebrations, of course, after you had made your talk and Tracy had cut the cake and all that. But anyway, as you know me now, I'm reluctant to go to crowds anywhere, but outside it's not so bad. But when you get people come up and hugging you, and because they hadn't seen you for so long, you gotta kind of watch. But anyway, I was really pleased to see the turnout here. I know Kippens had a really big crowd as well, but one thing they do have down there that we don't have is bingo. So a lot of people got their bingo.
Happiness is showing bingo.
But not that I wanted to go to the bingo, but a lot of seniors
It's a happy moment.
do like bingo, right? And so after all the dignitaries were gone, I went over to the boys and I said, now boys, I said, of course I did bump into our astute here, town manager, Colin. I always call you Campbell, you know, I got to stop saying that. I call him Maddock. The first one I bumped into when I walked walked in, and his handsome son, of course. Oh my goodness, Matthew, what a sweet boy.
Yeah.
He's soon going to be 15. I believe it's tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
So now I want to say happy birthday now, Matthew,
Thank you, Councillor.
son of Colin, because I know he's going to be a good volunteer for someone, and I will be calling on him for sure. So anyway, the boys let me get up and say a few words, and they said, yes, 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 let's talk a little bit longer. It's what's a break. But anyway, I did mention Tracy and her seniors, and that got a lot of claps.
Yeah.
And I mentioned Marissa, and that got claps too. So I didn't get a chance to talk to everybody, but I did talk to a lot of people. And it was really nice to see. And the other thing too that we need to thank God for sure, we had such a beautiful day.
Yes.
And even our new doctor that's here, Dr. Maxwell, with his 2 little boys and one to be coming any day now, they were there. But I missed them on the field because there's so many people there. But I had tried to call him, and he text him, and he texted me back, and he said to tell him about it, you know. And he said, he said, we're on the field, but I couldn't find him. So he's quite happy to be here. He's already looking at purchasing a house and bringing some other family over. So that's really good to hear. And he's going to be working up at the Steamboat Medical Clinic with Dr. McCumsky and the other doctors that are up there. So pleased to see that's ongoing. And so I think since we started our incentive program and retention program, we've had 3 new doctors come, and we've got one other one for sure looking at coming, possibly 2. So it's looking good there. Not looking good for our surgeons or anesthesiologists or what's the other one? Internist. We need another internist. I had a good chat yesterday with Carmel Turpin.
Did you? Good.
Yeah, she's a recruiter for Western Health, and Carmel worked here when she was around 21 years old with the Georgian, and she's had a long career of jobs along the way from Corner Brook originally and living in Corner Brook now. But she's telling me that, you know, they are actively recruiting, and there's 2 surgeons that, and then you know about those 2 that they're waiting on things. I would, some people will call it red tape, but they're waiting on different stuff too,
Yes.
in the medical board. And the medical board is not making it any easier because they've changed some of the rules, making it more difficult for these doctors to come in and practice. So there's a lot of things going on, but
Great news is we have 3 new doctors now.
Yes.
yeah,
That's
That's the
amazing.
positive part.
yeah, yeah. And you know, the thing about that is with all the good news that's coming, I'm predicting we're going to need to build on to our hospital. So I don't know if I'll be here, but I might be that we will have to build on, yeah. I think that's all I got to say right now. If I think of anything, I'll make a cough and I'll come back.
Yeah, also I wanted to add to that, the RCMP sponsored the hot dogs and the buns for Canada Day. They did the cooking, and we helped out at the table serving. And I had so much fun with the little children because they wanted to know how much it costs. And I said to them, it doesn't cost anything, but the music was so good over at the bandstand. I said, I did a few moves, and I said, if you can wiggle yourself down by the table and you show me your moves, I'll give you the hot dog for free. And they were laughing, and we had so much fun that day.
Yeah.
And also there was a wreath laying at the cenotaph in the morning.
Yes.
So Tom laid a wreath, of course, but on behalf of our town. So I just wanted to make those few comments.
I'd just like to add a couple of things, I guess. We've had significant announcement of the airport deal is done. And next 12 months to see how that process and rollout is going to happen. But it's great news because it takes the taxpayers off the hook. And now we can start looking at revenue generation because of what's going to happen. Every time a new building gets built at that airport, a new company goes to that airport, that's property and new business tax for the town of Stephen. So that's one really good news story. And I want to applaud Carl Diamond for his vision and his tenacity to stay at it until he got the deal done. That's one. Number two, the announcement from Mr. John Risley and Mr. Adam on the major investment plans that's going to come to Stephenville region. When I say Stephenville region, this is regional. This is development and infrastructure from the Anglo Mountains going right to the tip of the Port Fort Peninsula. This is a lot of direct jobs, a lot of indirect jobs, a lot of construction jobs. It could be scaled up into one of the most significant corporate investments in the history of Atlantic Canada. That's how big this is. But it's not just going to put Stephenville on the map. This puts Newfoundland on the map. It puts Canada on the map. It's going to put North America on the map because the insatiable demand for this new green hydrogen is the European Union. When we talk about the European Union, most of the G7 countries are in the European Union. We're one of the G7, the United States of America, Japan. So there's only 7, but they're insatiable big economies. Germany's got 80 million people. You got 37 in Canada. You know, that's just one country. So this is an industry that's got all the checkpoints. Why Stephenville? Well, the number one reason is wind. We have the best numbers and wind DNA in North America to do this. But our adjacency to the European market, it's about taking that product now. Remember, every time a ship was going to come into the port of Stephenville, take a shipload, that's GDP for Canada. Why this is so important again is this is a company, they're making a product and they're going to accrue carbon credits. This is a company that's going to come in and take technically a 300-acre brownfield and turn it into a green field. Every checkbox on this is positive. But you got to understand, with every industry, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Mm-hmm. And beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You've all heard that, the old adage. Now, when I drive across Canada and I see wind turbines, I find beauty in them. Some people might look at a wind turbine and say, it looks ugly. It's all about, you know, so let's say that that's the ugly part. Remember, transmission lines that powers everybody's homes kill birds. Birds get electrocuted.
And they're not as pretty as windmill.
No, they're not. I got to agree. I never thought of that. They're not. So, you know, whether you drive a car and you emit carbon, that impacts, you know. So what's really great about this is the submission to government is in. There's got to go through that time bar for approvals. But when you see the federal industry minister coming down from Ottawa and spending time in St. John's and talking about how Newfoundland is going to be first, put Canada on the map. So now we got oil and gas, which is a big piece of economy, and oil and gas will be forever because you still need fossil fuels to make gasoline and different products that are made from fossil fuels. But here we are transitioning towards 2050 into a new green economy. So when the federal government's behind you and the provincial government's behind you, And then you got significant international corporate investment. And during Stephenville, like I say, our wind, our adjacency, our international airport, our international port, our weather, our soil structures, and last but not least, our good looks. So there's a lot of check boxes there, right?
You're absolutely right.
Moira left in disagreement.
Okay, we
before,
won't get hold on anybody that's watching in, but. you know.
Yeah, before I close, I need to mention this. I just thought about it, actually. I had a private message from the manager of the KW. And they're having a celebration on July 12th, which I believe is Tuesday.
Our day.
Now, she didn't say who it was for. She just said, there's a celebration. And at 2 o'clock and at 3 o'clock, we have a picture taken of all the seniors that we have over 90. Now, I know that Trixie Hines is going to be, it's either 108 or 109, and I think her birthday's the 12th.
It's probably Trixie's birthday.
So she wanted to know if I would go there.
You over 90?
Give out, because I'm over
You're
90.
young enough.
I'm over 90. Go over there and practice what it's going to be like when I go to move in there. No, not really. Not really, but she wanted to know if I would go, if there was any such thing as a certificate from the town or something like that, that I would go on behalf of the town and present to the seniors that are there over 90. Now, we don't have certificates.
We can get something done out there. Yeah, Jennifer and staff could get something
I
done.
have all
for
the
you.
information.
Roughly how many would you need, do you think?
Well, I'm going to have to find that out from her because I haven't answered her back yet.
Okay,
She texted me probably about 9:30 last night.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a text at all, it was a message, so private message. So I'm gonna get back to her today
yeah.
and see, but you know me now, I'm not too keen on going up there and among seniors, because you don't know. So I don't know, Tracy, if you would like to do
Well,
something.
I actually spoke to her and I gave her your phone number because Tuesday is our free meal to the community day on Main Street.
Oh, okay,
It's the
yeah,
exact same time.
same day, yeah,
But you should wear your mask.
yeah. Yeah, I'll probably go to more to get the presentations made than the celebration part of it, because there would probably won't be as many there.
Yeah.
At that time. Yeah, so I'll touch base with her anyway.
That sounds good, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention too, with the advent of economic growth for the town of Stephenville, you know, and we had a couple of big issues in this town that we fought hard to keep them going. We never wavered. It's our airport and our hospital. But those two things now got a lot of lifeline attached to them. So when you talk about a new industry coming in and new workers, young people, looking around this side of the table there, they're the people that have the children. And I can see when you're talking about, because we were set up for it, like, there's only 7 OR suites in Western Newfoundland. There's 5 in Corner Brook and 2 in Stephenville. You're right. We will probably end up having to expand. But I think one of the first things for planning for Western Health, and now it's going to be the new One Health Board. And we had a good meeting with the CEO, Mr. David Diamond, who's going to be coming to Stephenville to meet with us this summer. And he's very aware of what's going to happen in Stephenville with the growth. So obstetrics and gynecology is something now, it's time to get reinstated, because by having obstetrics and gynecology in Stephenville back again, there's going to be higher demand because you're going to have younger families. And then it takes the pressure off of the new hospital in Cornbrook, because remember, the new hospital in Cornbrook is not as big as the old hospital that they're shutting down. It's got
No,
far less beds.
true.
And what's happening in the healthcare industry too, with the less invasive procedures and the advancement in medicine and procedures, is people tend to spend less days in the hospital than they used to. So on that note.
Well,
I think-
I don't entirely agree with that part of it, but somebody going in for a hip replacement, and getting up the same day. I don't really agree with that.
That's a bit of,
Yeah,
I
but,
heard that, that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. But before we go, there's a few things I forgot about. I guess you know that Dr. Heggie now is the education minister,
Yes,
and Dr. Osborne is the health minister, but my mind serves me right. Osborne was health minister back in, I believe, I don't know now if Lenny knows, I believe he was with the PCs at the time when he was health minister. And I'm not sure how he performed at that point, but I'm gonna do some back research on it. So a lot of people were wanting Haggie's resignation, and that's why he made, Fury, I'm sure, made the call. But our West Coast Healthcare Action Committee did meet with David Diamond, but not only was David Diamond on virtual, there was the whole bunch of senior management of Western Health, the acting CEO, the VP of this, the VP of that. There was about, oh, I don't know, maybe you were there, maybe six or seven of them. And he was going on with his spiel about the one board, and I told him, I said, well, you know what? I know what it's like to have our own board. And when we lost our board in 1989 or thereabouts, we lost our identity. We weren't Sir Thomas Roddick anymore. We were Western Health. And I said, things went downhill then. I said, our inventory went way out of whack. And when the storekeeper called Corner Brook purchasing, they said, well, adjust it. Adjust your inventory, which you don't do. So there was all kinds of nightmares started when that happened, because I call it centralization. But what he explained, I don't know if you got that from Tom, from what he said, it's not going to be any different. You're going to have an advisory committee, not a board. It's not going to be any different. You're going to have the same people with a different title, getting more money. Still going to have Western Health there. You know, to me,
I think
you're not saving any money, Mr.
I
Mayor.
think it's not totally confirmed how it's all going to be structured and rolled out yet. It's going to be a Western region. It won't be Western Health. There'll be one board, there'll be different regions.
Yeah, but he's
Well,
saying
the structure-
advisory committee, you say.
I think the biggest thing for us, and I've championed with him, is that we need appropriate management to make decisions on the ground to stay with appropriate budgets. And you have to have autonomy within the leadership of your nursing staff and your doctors and specialists, and it's got to be managed properly. Being micromanaged offsite don't work.
But I told him, I said, you know, you got to have good management.
Got to.
And when our girls retired from the management structure, we don't have anybody from Steve Miller in that top management.
Yeah.
Like Karen's gone, Catherine's gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's been some, but I wasn't really surprised what he had to say, because I knew that the one board wasn't going to change a whole lot of things.
So time will tell. Let's hope there's some better changes than what is, because it's not working for us now.
No,
We know that. So I want change, at least to give it a chance, because it's not working now. Because
now,
we're, you know, when you got your surgeon, but you don't have no
Yeah.
anesthetist.
well, we got 5 positions for OB gynecologist in Corner Brook. 1 vacancy. There's 1 on maternity leave. The girl that wants to come back here, 2025, I gave Carmel all of her information that Palmer already had in the file, but they hadn't contacted her yet. So I stressed to Carmel that they need to contact that girl, because her and her husband, they're from here. They want to come back here. And if she can't get on right away at Sir Thomas Roddick, before we get our extension put on and get our obstetrical back, she could probably work out of Western Health, because they do have a vacant position now. And in 2 years' time, you know, they might have another vacant position. Who knows? So she assured me she would touch base with Amber. Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, if there's any other business, I would call for adjournment. Moved by Councillor Lenny Taylor, second Councillor Tracy Boland, all in favor.
Aye.
It is 12:53. I want to thank everybody for zooming in and listening to our public meeting here on this beautiful day. I know it's raining, but we need it. So
Yeah.
we'll see you in about 3 weeks' time.
But you need some sun for the powwow coming up
Yes.
the weekend.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.